Welcome back. We are now looking at worksheet 8D. In the next preview assignment and in the next class, you're going to need to be able to use technology to create a scatter plot and estimate the parameters of the line of best fit. So we're going to start with scatter plots and the line of best fit. The owner of an ice cream shop wonders if more ice cream cones are sold on hotter days than on cooler days. To see if there is a pattern, she records the outside temperature and the number of cones sold for 17 days. You and I have a spreadsheet where all of this data is existing, and you need to go to D2L, and under the top tab of Content, you'll then find a side tab of Spreadsheets. And from there, you'll need to open up this spreadsheet with outside temperature and the ice cream cones sold. Go grab that and then go work on question number 1, which is saying that it is very rare for a mathematical model to fit the data perfectly. However, graphing the data can help make trends in the data easier to see. So using this spreadsheet, generate a scatter plot of the data. I took a quick screenshot of the Excel file, and for us to create a quick scatter plot, that is not very well drawn, but the idea would be that we would take the lowest temperature, which I didn't grab all of the data, so somewhere around 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, and then go up accordingly. And I probably should have greater spacing in here instead of trying to do it by 5s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I probably should do it by 2s. But the idea to get a quick sketch is to draw something on which to put the data. So when it's 93, they sold 45 cones. So over here at about 93, I'm going to go up to about 45. And then at 81, I'm going to go up to about 71, 17. And I've got too many hidden variables going on this computer right now, but the idea is that you would take all of the data points and put them on this graph, either by hand or by Excel. So I encourage you to get some practice doing this by hand, but I'm immediately going to go on and do this using Excel. And no, I don't want to save my snippet. I want to go back to the data. So looking at our data, they're asking us to create a scatter plot. So I'm going to grab both columns and the data points in each column, and I'm going to go up to Insert. I'll go to Charts, and it'll give us some recommended charts, but very likely it's intuitive, and it's going to pick a scatter plot for us to look at. So what I was attempting to draw a while ago would eventually look about like this, but I like their spacing better, like down here at the bottom where they're going 78 to 80 to 82. That's going to give a much better amount of detail. So it asks us to go ahead and label our axes, and this is going to help with interpreting the graph. So part of this lesson, and specifically on question 1, part A, the comments are, it is a good idea to label the axes in the graphs, and this helps with interpreting the graphs. The directions are given for Excel, Numbers, and Google Sheets. I'm in Excel, so I'm going to follow what it's saying to go over here and click on the 1 and click on the axis titles. But right here, it tells me primary vertical and primary horizontal. So over here on the primary vertical, this information includes, and I need to delete what's there. It is the outside temperature in degrees. Is that right? That's not right. That's incorrect. That's not the outside temperature. Let me scratch through that one, and I don't even have my pencil out. This is actually the number of ice cream cones sold. And down here would be the outside temperature in degrees. And now we have the title of the ice cream cone sold, the outside temperature in degrees, and that completes part A. I'm reading off of question 1, part B, and it says some other types of graphs display the data in the order from the spreadsheet. Scatter plots do not. Select the point in the scatter plot that is the furthest to the right. That would be here. And it says use the X and Y values of this point to fill in the blanks in the following sentence. And so for the following sentence, when the temperature was, and remember temperature is down here, so when the temperature was 96 degrees, the store sold 50 ice cream cones. Part C, what trend can be observed in the graph? Well, the dots are trending upward. The hotter it is, it appears there are more sales of ice cream cones. Part D, if the points were connected, would the result be a perfectly straight line? The answer is no, and that leads us to question 2. So if you haven't hit pause, you need to go ahead and hit pause and look at least question 2, and maybe question 2, 3, and 4. So moving on to question 2, the line of best fit. Well, we haven't been talking about vocabulary in just a while, but these are words that you're going to need to add to your glossary, your flashcards, or Google Doc, whatever it is that you're creating to keep these words in front of you and to memorize them. The line of best fit is also called the trend line. And what is it? Well, it's a straight line that best represents all of the data points. As shown in the graph, real data is not always perfectly linear, and some of the points do not lie on the same line. So in part A, we're being asked to generate a trend line in the graph and use one of the following, depending on what spreadsheet we're using. I am showing you guys Excel. It says highlight the chart, select the plus tab, and then mark the trend line box. So going back to our Excel file, select the plus, go down here to the bottom where it says trend line, and any choices, let's go ahead and grab linear, and let's go ahead and look at some more options. And with it being more options, I'm going to go ahead and ask it to display the equation on the chart. I'm going to go ahead and write that equation down. The y equals 2.3186x minus 171.8. So, looking at that, we have completed question part A. We created the trend line, and then it says on part B, does the line of best fit have a positive slope? And looking, I don't know how much it'll let me write, but looking right up here at the 2.3186, that is a positive slope of about 2. So it's positive. And explain part C why the direction of the slope makes sense given this context, because it appears that as it gets hotter, as the temperature increases, it appears that more people will buy ice cream cones. Again, if you have not hit pause, this is a great time to hit pause and you complete question 3, even 3 and 4, and then come back and we'll work through these together. On question 3, it says to find the slope and the intercept of the line of best fit, a process called regression is used. Again, another word that you want to add to your vocabulary list. Follow these directions for regression with the data. So go to this website, but if you do a cut and paste, don't get that dot, that period, the end of the sentence, don't get that in there, that'll mess you up. But go on to the website, and then it says we're going to copy and paste our numbers from the Excel spreadsheet into the box, numbers only, no headings, and we're going to copy them at the same time and click Submit Data. So I believe I've already done, let me go ahead and show you though. I've already, excuse me, highlighted both columns with no headings. I'm asking it to copy this information, and right here I'm going to ask it to paste the information, and I'll submit the data. Once we submit the data, it too will graph it, show you a line of best fit, and with this regression it gives us an equation, and the equation it gives us is right here with the y equals. So y equals about 2.32x minus 171.80, 80 hundredths. So part B says use the results of the regression to write the equation of the line of best fit. So that was it. Y equals 2.32x minus 171.80, or 2 and 32 hundredths x minus 171 and 80 hundredths. Part C, state the slope of the line of best fit rounded to the nearest hundredth, and then write a contextualized sentence using your answer. So using the website and using even just within Excel, we get that there is a slope of 2.32, or 2 and 32 hundredths. But remember back that slope represents change in y over change in x. That's what always helps me to understand or interpret the slope. I like to write words, I like to write some ideas, even just some quick initials. So our y ended up being the number of items sold. So that's the ice cream sold. Our vertical count was the number. Our horizontal, the x, was the temperature. And so if our slope is 2.32, then we could say something along the lines of, we will increase by about 2 1/3 ice cream bars for every 1 degree we increase. I sometimes like saying it the other way, that for every degree we go up, our sales will increase just over 2 ice cream bars or ice cream cones. Part C, state the slope in the line of best fit, rounded to the nearest hundredth, and oh, that was just it. Sorry. Round to the nearest hundredth. I'm sorry. This was part C. I just answered it. Part D, state the y-intercept of the line of best fit. So the y-intercept, the B, was about -171 and 80 hundredths. And it says, what is it? Well, that's it. Does the answer make sense in the context of the problem? And the answer is, well, it implies that there's going to be a negative amount of ice cream cone sales when the temperature is 0 degrees. And this does not make sense because the number of sales cannot be negative. So again, data are messy. And so that is one cool thing about using real data, is that you get to see pieces of how to manipulate the data, and manipulate's not a good word, but to manage the data so that you can make sense out of it even when it's messy. To finish up this lesson, question 4 says that this worksheet introduced several new terms, including scatter plot, trend line, line of best fit, and regression. You're going to see more terms in your preview and in your in-class activity. So how are you going to be keeping track of this vocabulary? And so there are multiple things that I've been mentioning along the way of either starting a glossary or flashcards where you put, a way is to put like a word on one side, like scatter plot, and then on the back side, you start writing information like a definition, a drawing, an example, a lesson where you saw it. And flashcards are what helped me to get through 4 degrees. So I like flashcards, but I know my stepdaughter, she likes having everything written out on a page, like with a glossary. Some of y'all might have even a group where you share some Google Docs or a Google Doc, and you have your words written here where y'all can add to them remotely and have a really good compilation of words. Whatever it is, right now you need to write down how you intend to keep up with, if you haven't been especially, vocabulary words for this class and for your 1332 class. This ends lesson 8D. You need to look at your syllabus to see if you have more lessons to do before our deadline this week. If you have more, then keep listening, and if you don't have more, upload your papers to D2L, and I'll see you on another video soon.